During his address was that of January Littlejohn, whose daughter was transitioned at school without her consent. Listen here.
My administration is also working to protect our children from toxic ideologies in our schools. A few years ago, January Littlejohn and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Stories like this are why, shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology.
January Littlejohn was at the address as a guest of First Lady Melania Trump and joins me now. January, good morning to you. So President Trump said last night that his message to all parents and children is that you are perfect the way you are. How about that? So tell us about your experience last night.
Hi, Carly. It's great to be with you. You know, I was just humbled and honored to be there. And I wasn't just there representing what happened to our family, but I was there on behalf of all families who have been irreversibly harmed and are still being harmed by the lies of gender identity ideology.
Yeah, and the president also said that what happened to your daughter is a form of child abuse. So tell us what happened to your daughter and if you agree with that.
Sure. And I do agree with it, Carly. Any ideology that tells a child that they are born wrong and forces them to want to cut off their healthy body parts. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. And schools are ground zero for this type of indoctrination. So at the height of COVID, our daughter came to us and told us she no longer felt like a girl. And this was shortly after 3 of her friends had also been seduced by the lies of this ideology. And 2 weeks later, after school started, they socially transitioned our daughter without our knowledge or consent. And I want to be clear, this goes well beyond name and pronouns. They sat my child down in a closed-door room with 3 adults. She was 13 at the time. And what this is really doing is they're asking children which restroom and locker room they prefer to use, which sex they prefer to room with on overnight field trips. And then they are hiding this information, and in our case, actually withholding the information from us. This is creating a huge wedge between the parent-child relationship, and it's really sending a message to the child that they need to be protected from their parents, not by their parents. It took my ability to protect my daughter and make mental health decisions for her away from me.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, President Trump mentioned the executive orders that he has signed regarding this issue last night. Now that those are in effect, do you think that those executive orders will prevent what happened to your daughter from happening to another child?
I mean, that's the hope, Carly, but we know that this will not root out all of this ideology. It has infected every institution of our society, and so what we really need is a shift in culture. And until that time, I am very grateful that President Trump and his administration are using all tools available, including executive orders, but we really need Congress to back these orders. It's really important that parents understand it's not a matter of if, it's when their children are introduced to this false ideology that their child could be born in the wrong body. It is being pushed many different ways in schools. And so parents have to fully inoculate their kids from this ideology.
I can only imagine what your reaction was when you found out that this was happening to your daughter behind your back in school. How is she doing now?
I really appreciate that question. You know, she's a senior now. It's been a very long time. And thankfully, we were able to parent her through her confusion. And that's my message to parents, is that if you are in the throes of this confusion with your child, we can parent them through this, love them through this, set healthy boundaries, stand firm in what's true and real, and love them through anything.
Yeah, well, it's an important message that you have, and we thank you so much for sharing it with us this morning. January Littlejohn, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.